Your brain isn't broken. It's working perfectly. That's exactly the problem. If you've ever wondered why your mind can ignore 10 good things and obsess over one uncomfortable moment, why peace feels fragile while worry feels automatic, the answer isn't weakness. It's design. Your brain evolved to keep you alive, not to keep you happy. It was built to scan for threats, anticipate problems, and remember pain more vividly than comfort. The trouble is that most of us are using an ancient survival system in a world where the dangers are no longer predators in the dark, but thoughts, expectations, comparisons, and imagined futures. So when your mind drifts towards stress, self-doubt, or negativity, it isn't proof that something is wrong with you. It's evidence that an old program is still running. And right now, 5 invisible patterns may be shaping how you think, feel, and react every day. This isn't about blame. It's about finally seeing the mechanism. To understand why your mind often gravitates toward the negative, we have to go back to what it was originally built to do. The human brain evolved in environments where survival depended on noticing danger quickly. Missing a threat could be fatal. Missing a pleasant experience usually wasn't. Over time, that created a powerful negativity bias. Research suggests that negative experiences can be encoded up to 3 times more strongly than positive ones, making them harder to ignore and easier to remember.
That's why a single criticism can linger longer than 10 compliments. It's why all of us carry a nervous system shaped by survival priorities that no longer match the world we're living in. The good news is that awareness changes everything. Once you recognize the hidden patterns this bias creates, you stop mistaking them for reality. And those 5 patterns are often hiding in plain sight every day. You know the loop. Something uncomfortable happens. A conversation, a mistake, an awkward moment. You replay it, then replay the replay, then start analyzing why you're replaying it in the first place. Hours later, the event is gone, but your mind is still sitting in the same chair, holding the same thought. This pattern is called rumination, and it often disguises itself as problem solving. It feels productive because you're thinking so hard, but most of the time, you're not moving toward an answer. You're moving in circles. The strange part is that trying to force the thought away usually strengthens it. It's like telling yourself not to think about a pink elephant. The effort keeps it alive. Neuroscientists link this tendency to the brain's default mode network, which often turns inward when left unchecked. A simple disruption is to ask one question: am I solving this or rehearsing it? That moment of awareness creates space to choose differently. The second pattern is catastrophizing. And if we're honest, most of us have watched our minds turn a small problem into a full-scale disaster. One critical email arrives, and somehow, within 90 seconds, you've lost your job, damaged your reputation, disappointed everyone you care about, and possibly your will to live. The speed would be impressive if it weren't so exhausting. It's as if your brain has hired a screenwriter who only pitches disaster movies. Give it a missing text message, a delayed response, or one uncertain outcome, and it immediately starts drafting the worst possible ending. Part of this comes from something called availability bias. The brain treats vivid, emotionally charged possibilities as more likely simply because they are easier to imagine. But imagination is not prediction. So here's a useful question. When was the last time the catastrophe your brain predicted actually happened exactly as imagined? Usually, the disaster script feels real long before it becomes remotely realistic.
The third pattern is emotional reasoning, and it operates so quietly that most people never notice it happening. Your brain doesn't naturally distinguish between a feeling and a fact. If something feels true, it becomes true, at least from the brain's perspective. A difficult mood arrives, and suddenly the mind starts gathering evidence to support it. I feel like nobody cares becomes proof that nobody cares. I feel like I'm failing becomes evidence of failure. The emotion arrives first, and the conclusion follows so quickly that they seem like the same thing. Part of the reason is that emotions process faster than logic. They set the frame before reason has a chance to examine it. By the time rational thinking enters the conversation, the story already feels convincing. But there is a powerful space hidden here, the pause between feeling and conclusion. The moment you ask, what am I feeling and what are the facts? That's where the pattern begins to break. The fourth pattern is mental filtering, and it may be one of the most deceptive. A bad mood is like an Instagram filter you can't turn off. Everything gets processed through it. Good things appear faded. Small frustrations become impossible to ignore. The world hasn't changed, but the lens through which you're viewing it has.
When this happens, your brain isn't searching for truth. It's searching for evidence that matches how you already feel. If you're discouraged, it notices setbacks. If you're insecure, it notices rejection. Anything that contradicts the mood is often dismissed or forgotten. The cost is larger than most people realize. Genuine moments of connection, progress, and enjoyment can pass by unnoticed because the filter never lets them fully register. They happened, but they never became part of the story. So consider this question. What if 3 good things happened today that you simply didn't register? That possibility alone is enough to challenge the certainty of a negative narrative. The fifth pattern is comparison mode, and for many people, it runs so constantly that it feels normal. The instinct itself is ancient. Human beings have always measured themselves against others to understand status, belonging, and safety within a group. But today, that instinct is being amplified by something our brains were never designed for. Every scroll presents a carefully edited collection of achievements, milestones, confidence, beauty, and success. And without realizing it, your mind starts keeping score. The painful part is that you're comparing your internal experience, your doubts, your mess, your bad days, to everyone else's external performance. Research suggests that social comparison can activate neural threat systems similar to those involved in physical danger. No wonder it feels so emotionally intense. If you've fallen into this pattern, it doesn't mean you're insecure or failing. It means you're human. The challenge is remembering that what you're measuring yourself against is rarely the full picture, ever shown completely online. If you step back, you'll notice that all 5 patterns share the same source: rumination, catastrophizing, emotional reasoning, mental filtering, comparison mode. Different expressions, same mechanism. They work best when they remain invisible. The moment you see them clearly, something changes.
Most people try to think their way out of these patterns, but awareness comes first. You can't think your way out of them. You can name your way out. The moment you say, that's rumination, or that's catastrophizing, you're no longer completely inside the pattern. You're observing it. And observation creates choice. That's the real shift. Not becoming a person who never struggles, never worries, or never compares. Becoming a person who recognizes what's happening while it's happening. You're not someone who gets stuck. You're someone who now knows the exit. If this helped you see something you couldn't name before, share it with someone who needs the same mirror. Your brain will run these patterns today. The difference now is you'll see them running.